It's easier to be epic than it is to be average. I'm Derek Loudermilk, host of The Art of Adventure, author of Superconductors, and I want to tell you that it's easier to be world-class. It's easier to do big, challenging, amazing things than it is to simply be average. Now you look at people like Richard Branson, right? They jump out of an airplane before breakfast and they make $1 billion and they make it look easy and it looks like fun. Wow, that's actually what it can be like for you too. But what most of us are doing, and what I used to do before I started spending time with all these adventurous thinkers and world-changing entrepreneurs, is that we're all trained because of our school system. Here's what it takes to get an A, or here's what it takes to pass. And you think inside of the box that other people have set for you. And until you start thinking outside the box, you're never going to start thinking outside the box. So let me give you some examples. And what's going to happen is that when you start thinking bigger and taking on much bigger challenges, you're going to get the fire of motivation inside your belly. You're going to get so much momentum. Paulo Coelho calls it the universe is conspiring to help you. And you'll start seeing things happen that you never would have expected to happen if you stayed with a normal average course. So take someone like Oliver White, for example. He was a fishing guide, right? And all of a sudden he decides, I want to explore rivers and fish that have never been caught with fly fishing before. Not only that, I want to help teach the local people how to create sustainable lodges and create a fishing industry for themselves. And so he's gone all over the world to do that. Nobody's ever thought of doing that before, but now he's featured all over the media. People get behind his mission, and it created so much momentum. Here's another great example. I wanted to raise a bunch of money for my birthday one year. And so I approached the organizers of a local, it was a monthly sort of big mansion party where there's hundreds of people and, a big pool and a mansion and DJs and dancing all day long. And I said, I want you to host this party for me for my birthday. We're going to raise money. I want you to give half of your proceeds, half of your profit to charity. And he said yes. And it actually was the biggest party that he had ever thrown, most successful for all of us. We donated thousands of dollars. There was more people there. He got his notoriety. I had the biggest birthday party I've ever had. And as soon as you start being unreasonable, as soon as you start thinking outside the box, amazing things start happening for you. While everybody else, right? Everybody else is staying average. They're all trying to compete on price. They're all trying to say, we're going to just, our business, we're going to do a little bit faster, or we're going to do a little bit better. And when everybody's competing, right, for the same customers, for the same jobs, or when they're, I'm going to take model 1.1 and make it model 1.2. When you're doing these little incremental improvements, it's so hard because there's so much competition and it's not motivating. I've tried to copy off of other people because they had the magic formula for success, but because it wasn't for me, because it wasn't aligned with what I really was excited about, it was hard work. And I don't want business to feel like hard work. I want you to take something that's so exciting that it pulls you out of bed and the momentum pulls you for it. I have my friend Chase Beringer. He just set the world record for highest motorcycle. And he had, I believe, more than 75 people and businesses were sponsoring this expedition. And he asked them for help. And they were on board. They were super excited to support this big world record project that he was doing. So how can you start thinking bigger? If you've been thinking average your whole life, like me, I was like, okay, I'm just going to clock in, clock out, get my paycheck, do as little as possible, think about what else I'm going to do when I get home from work. Until I shifted my thinking, until I started thinking, what would I do if I had the support of celebrities or billionaires or all my friends? What would I do if I knew that I couldn't fail? What would I do if somebody gave me $100 million to make this thing a reality? What would I do if I stopped being reasonable? And it takes some time to change your thinking. It takes time asking the right questions to open up your thinking. It's a creative process. And even then, even when you come up with a big, exciting, scary, audacious idea, your ego is going to tell you not to do it. It's going to try to keep you safe. It's like the Australians have this thing called tall poppy syndrome. It's going to try to keep you don't stand above the crowd, because then you'll just get chopped off, right? Keep your head down, keep your nose to the grindstone, work hard, try to get ahead, right? This is wrong thinking, because I worked hard for a long time and didn't have anything to show for it. So start changing the questions you're asking to yourself, because what happens if you don't? What happens if you don't start thinking bigger? What happens if you don't start taking big, bold action? Well, you're just going to be right where you are. And there's going to be more and more people trying to do the same thing, competing for scarce resources, trying to be average. You're going to lose momentum. You're going to run out of steam. Your business is going to hit these plateaus, right? It's as hard as you can work. If you're working a 12-hour day and you're hustling as much as you can, right? How long can you sustain that? Maybe a few months, maybe a couple of years. But you're going to be limited by the constraints of being average. So what you have to do is you have to start being unreasonable. You have to start practicing, and it's a practice, thinking outside the box. And this is exactly what I teach people in my LEAP system for quantum entrepreneurship. This is part of the adventure mindset and part of the Thought Leaders MBA, two of the important pillars of the LEAP system for entrepreneurship. So your takeaway for today is to start changing the questions that you're asking yourself so that you can expand the challenges that you take on, so that you can go from 0 to 1, as Peter Thiel puts it in his book, 0 to 1. It's creating something from nothing rather than, I'm just going to take this year's smartphone or this year's sneaker and make it version 1.3 or 1.4. That's not what we want to do. We want to go so big and so new that it gets exciting and people get on board and we have a mission, right? And then you're going to have to start using your resourcefulness. Then you're going to have to see what you're really made of, and you're going to experience the full meaning of what it is to be you. So start changing your questions. Let yourself think bigger. Let yourself know that you can handle it. If you take on a big challenge, it's going to be exciting and you have what it takes. All right. Stay adventurous. Have a great day. See you soon.